okay, so rest in peace to PNB Rock. That was somebody you had
Yeah.
a real
Rest in
relationship with. And even when I was watching the Steve-O interview that you did, which was probably like your last major interview, you were saying like, oh yeah, like I got an album coming out and PNB Rock might hop on one of the songs or whatever. So you guys had an actual friendship.
Yeah, that was before he had passed.
Exactly, yeah.
That was that. Well, it's not gonna happen anymore, obviously. But
Right.
there was a time where he had sent me a couple of opens that I still haven't heard. I can't wait for people if they. I want that to come out no matter what because they were very good records. PNB Rock. Everybody, when he passed away, unfortunately, you saw everybody posting, their own, stories with them or clips or photos of them. It seemed like he had touched so many people, like people I didn't even realize, were posting like this person. I was like, wow. He was such a nice fucking dude. The last time we had hung out was Las Vegas New Year's Eve, and I was in my friend's ironically another G-Wagon, not mine. We're driving to the club, and it's none of us are drunk or anything. We're smoking weed. We're bumping some of our music. I think he was playing some unreleased, and I get pulled over by the cops because I guess I was going 100. I didn't realize. I have at this point in my life, I have a suspended license too, and I'm in the car with me, PNB Rock, and his like two friends. And I'm like, this is gonna be interesting. So we get pulled over. And obviously, I'm like, I'm screwed. I don't want to tell them I don't have a suspended license. I get out the car. They tell me to get out. And then I literally just talked them out. I literally talked them into just letting me go. It took like 25 minutes. I was like, please, officer, we're just some rappers. Like, they didn't know who I was at all. We're just feeling ourselves. We're playing our music. It's New Year's. And by oh, man, it worked. Like 30 minutes later, it was like a slap on the wrist. Maybe a ticket, but... they let me go, and that was just the most memorable point from our last encounter. And he used to call me Speed Racer after that.
Really?
Yeah, he would never let me drive the whip if I was in it.
Yeah, man, because it's like a lot of times I interview people and then I never really see him again, or I'll see him and it's whatever, but I would always see him in the airport. I've seen him like 3 different times in the airport.
He's one of those people you see at the airport a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
I have that with, I've seen Anderson .Paak a couple of times, and then Action Bronson I've seen a few times in the airport too.
Really?
I don't even think I ever said hi. I was just like, oh, look, there's that person.
You should definitely have said
Yeah,
hi.
I know, huh?
Okay. Okay. There was this other thing that came out that was kind of viral for like a day. You were supposed to tour with this band, the Dropout Kings, and then they framed it like basically you just fucked off on the tour, and then you put out a statement that said, I dropped off the tour because your management and booking agents were taking advantage of me. Your team dropped the ball. Your team did not have any accommodations or travel or anything a tour should. You just wanted to promote your homies under my name, and we tried to work it out, but your team is obviously new at this.
Yes.
So how did that go down?
That all stemmed from business. Like, it was bad business. I didn't have the management I have now. That was just before I had linked up with my new management, which was very good. I was still kind of like, I don't know how you describe it. I didn't have a manager at that time. I had like my friend who's a good friend of mine who's also a producer that was almost stepping in as a manager kind of part, I guess. And he had said all that. I'm not putting no bad things on him. He didn't know what he was getting to either, but we had kind of formed this whole idea of going on tour with the we didn't even know it was with people at first. Like, they didn't even mention that until down the road. And it just led, and then I got new management, led into that. They started to uncover that these things weren't right. These people weren't as legit as they were. The money wasn't there for traveling just to get around. It was very unorganized. So of course he did the rational thing of just pulling out completely before we went on this clusterfuck of a tour. I don't even know what it would have been. And he could see that I was still in the early stages of like getting sober and I was doing good. So felt like also you need to, going back out on the road is the worst thing right now, to someone trying to stay sober. So it was a mixture of mainly bad business on their part and just wanting to use that time to rest, I guess.
Right. Okay.
But they have probably a different version of events, but that's on them.
But people kind of tried to use it as part of this narrative of like
the downfall of,
or like, oh, nobody was going to go to the shows anyway, so that's why he pulled out. Was there any truth to that? Or
no, I there's no truth. I didn't even see any ticket counts at any of the shows. It felt like it was so early that that there wasn't any. It was so unorganized. There was no how many ticket sales there. The lady had like, I don't know if she had tricked us. Yeah, it was very just unprofessional, and we realized that, and that's why we pulled out.
Right.
But I never saw whether there was people showing up or not. I don't know. I can't speak to that. Like, I never saw any numbers, you know.
Do you feel like, you're kind of past the point in your career where you should be necessarily doing random janky ass tours with bands that are like, I don't know if they're legit or not. I don't know how many fans they have or
I don't
whatever.
know either. I don't know much about them, but that just goes into more the whole thing of at first we didn't even realize that there was going to be a band on it. That was almost slipped under. It was because she was managing. Those were her artists that were put on. So she kind of slipped that in like, yo, we're going to do this tour. And then also here's some good PR for and that's what it felt like 100%. So that's another big reason we pulled out. It was just a bad deal.
All right, so you see it. We just hit 500K. You know what that means? That means you gotta subscribe and get us to 600K because we are dangerously close to 666K. Let's go.